Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus this morning is on veterans, and we are now being joined by Debbie Buchanan, who serves as the Executive Director of Milwaukee Homeless Veterans Initiative. How are you, Debbie?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
It's always good to see you. Of course, you're no stranger to this show. For those who are unfamiliar with your organization and the work that you do, tell us more about Milwaukee Homeless Veterans Initiative.
Absolutely. Our organization has existed now for 13 years, and our mission really is to enable both homeless and at-risk veterans and their military families by addressing any of their needs. So if they are in crisis, our mission is to address that crisis immediately.
Yes, and you've done an outstanding job with that over the years. I think the work you do is so very important. And needless to say, for those veterans who were already dealing with the issues and the stresses in regards to maybe housing or food insecurity, the pandemic comes along and that just adds on or compounds the situation at hand. But I'm interested in knowing, through everything that has taken place, how has your organization been able to, continue serving the needs of those who are in need?
Absolutely. I mean, it was last year was a rough year. It continues even into the new year. We're already in May and still having some of the same experiences. I can say, working in the nonprofit sector here for 29 years, I had never seen anything like 2020. And I think most providers can say that. We just address people already dealing with everyday issues, but to compound a pandemic where now the kids are home from school and people have lost their jobs and under threat of losing their homes, it was really a struggle day by day just to help our families get through. So we really had to be creative on how we wanted to continue to serve without closing our doors. A lot of the other organizations, understandably so, had to do that. But we knew that if we had closed our doors, that our military members wouldn't have had a place to go and be served. The increase for our services, even for our food pantry, doubled. The numbers we saw probably a 33% increase on top of the normal amount of traffic that we have coming to the door or calling over the phone for emergency services.
Wow, that's a lot to endure. And so you had the situation of where you're normally trying to find housing for those veterans, but now you're also trying to keep them safe. And
Mhm.
that was not an easy task for any of us. So
Yeah.
there are reports that were released that show that military families are actually relying more on food banks and emergency aid to get by during this pandemic. Even though I say that we can see some light at the end of the tunnel, a
Mhm.
lot of people still in the thick of it all, and organizations like yours are there to help. So, COVID-19, uh, I'm sure, disrupted some of the ways that you did things, but as you stated, you saw the numbers go up when it came to people who were in need of food. So, what were you able to do in order to provide that?
Well, we definitely did more deliveries. We had our staff out in trucks, especially to our members who are disabled, our elderly veterans, or those who had small children and they didn't want to have to get on the bus with 4 or 5 children to come and pick up emergency food. So normally, during normal times, if you will, we have a lot of traffic at the door, but we said, we'll get the food to you. So we were out in our vehicles and our company trucks actually delivering food. And not just food, hygiene items, whatever they needed that we have here on site to be able to help them get through just from one day to the next.
And you had a partnership with Kohl's actually to help provide a lot of that food to people who were in need of your programs and services, right?
Yes, we had several partners that stepped up to the plate that we reached out to. The Green Bay Packers was very generous in assisting us with enough financing to help us purchase food. We wrote a grant to the Greater Milwaukee Foundation so that we could buy a refrigerator and freezer. Andrea, I don't know if you remember, but historically, we've only served perishable food items until about 3 months ago. So now we've got our vets coming to the door. We can provide fresh fruits and vegetables, and other things that we haven't been able to do until now.
Wow.
So we've been very busy.
Yeah, I can imagine, but it really does go to show the importance of really having those corporate partners who understand the need, understand the issue at hand, and really are helping make a difference. So, talk about that concept of it taking a village to really help our veterans and so many other people who are out there in need of a place to call home.
Absolutely. I mean, during the pandemic, the normal amount of volunteers that we have, we couldn't have anyone come into the building. So we did have to call out on our partners. Kohl's is one of those corporations that stepped up to the plate. They came in, their logistics team, and saw the need that that where we needed help at, especially logistically with our food pantry. And they literally have come in and renovated our entire emergency food pantry so that we can better serve our veterans. So it's partners like those that make a difference. They provide us with the manpower and the resources that we otherwise would not have.
Yeah, and I think if my memory serves me correct, you had a food truck come to your facility to offer dinners to veterans and their families during the pandemic, right?
Yes, we did. We had a couple of food trucks that stepped up to the plate, but particularly at the Thanksgiving season, we knew we couldn't have a big traditional Thanksgiving dinner where we have all of the vets come inside. And so we worked with someone who brought in a food truck, and we were serving barbecue dinners for vets. You know, anything that we could do to make a difference, make them feel better, and then feel the need at the same time.
Yes, truly special. And the thing is, you've got a long list of programs and services that we'll talk about. But if there's someone that's watching or someone who knows of a vet who may be in need of a little extra help, what's a website address and a phone number where they can call?
Absolutely. They can look up our website at www.mkehomelessvets.org. If they are in an urgent need, they can call our office at 414-257-4111, or they can stop by anytime between 9 and 4, Monday through Friday, for assistance. And we're located at 6300 West National Avenue.
All right. So now on to those programs and services. You've got your outreach program,
Mhm.
and that is special in itself because you don't necessarily make people come to you. You guys go out and you drive around and you look for veterans who may be sleeping in certain parts of the city or whatever the case may be, and you make
Yeah.
sure that they get the resources that they need so that they are not in that position any longer, right?
Absolutely. We're out there looking for veterans. We can find in parks and daytime shelters. Even the Walmart parking lots are a popular place, or the parking rides, because they're lit up for 24 hours.
Hmm.
We'll get calls from the sheriff's department, the police department, when they run into veterans. But we're out there looking for them to make sure they have blankets, make sure that they have food, if it's bus tickets, and then getting them somewhere that's safe. That could be for in a hotel or a motel for a couple of nights while we're working with our housing partners to find someplace permanent for them to be. So if you imagine a Friday night, 7, 8 o'clock at night, where you're going with a veteran family. So we have to be very strategic in how we are addressing those needs and making sure that we have a backup plan for those veterans in those situations when we run across them.
Yeah, and like I said, this pandemic has only made that, harder because the goal is to
Absolutely.
keep everyone healthy. So, when you talk about finding a place for a veteran or his and her family,
Mhm.
what are the procedures to follow in order to maybe get on a list or, actually start the ball rolling on getting a place?
Sure. You would be amazed. I was amazed coming here even to realize how many veterans have never sought out their benefits and they don't know what they're eligible for. So the first thing we want to do is get them connected to the VA to see if there are benefits there that they can tap into. In the case where a veteran may not be eligible, then we reach out to our other community partners. For example, the Center for Veterans Issues, they have a large housing program. We also work with the housing development in different counties here throughout Wisconsin that provide a certain amount of housing for veterans. And then we work with veteran-friendly landlords who are forgiving, that understands that, things happen. And just because they have an eviction on their record doesn't mean that they won't be a good tenant going forward. So really being an advocate is something that we have to do and we do to make sure that we can get them connected, not just any housing, but safe housing, affordable housing in some place where they can stay and live healthy, productive lives.
Yeah, and before we run out of time, I just want to mention that you have a Women's Veterans Initiative. And also, you are collecting donated bicycles for those veterans who may not have transportation. So, everyone can go to your website or give you a phone call if they want to donate. But I'm sure that you have procedures in place that are a little different during this pandemic on how to donate furniture and all those different things that you do take in
Mhm.
order to make sure someone, when they do have a home, you've got things to fill with that home. So that's what it's all about. So I just thank you so much for the work that you do, and more importantly, just continuing to do that work. Thank you for your time, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for your service, because you are a U.S. vet.
Yes, thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you, Debbie. It's always a pleasure. Debbie Buchanan is the executive director of the Milwaukee Homeless Veterans Initiative. For more information on anything we've discussed, again, go to mkehomelessvets.org or call 414-257-4111. That is going to do it for today's show. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope you join us again next week as we take another look at our issues in Milwaukee. Have a good day.